Now moving on, we got May 20th. We got Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. How do you see that fight coming out? It seems like it's starting to warm up due to the fact that this fight already settled down. What are your thoughts on that fight?
I think Haney can play with that jab all day like he did with Kambosos.
Oh,
Throwing that jab, moving around, um, and not get caught with things. But the moment if he does the things that he did with Jojo Diaz, where he got stuck in there, Lomachenko is gonna do whatever he needs to do. He's gonna pressure you, and that depends if Loma goes in there right from the very beginning, like when he did with Tio, right? He did it at the very last
yeah, seventh
moment,
round.
right? Or more, right? At the end. He did it at the end. And if he can go from the very beginning with Devin Haney, he might tire him out. He might pressure him. He might break him down mentally. But the way it is with Lomachenko, it's like we kind of see whether he shows up or not, right? Because a lot of people say he didn't really show up with, he had problem with his sparring partner or whatever, and you can't, Ortiz is a great fighter. He's a great young guy. He's not just a pushover. You know what I'm saying? So
He's a
I
sleeper
think
in the
that
division.
yeah, and I think that he just needs to go press it, but it depends on who shows up that day. But if with Devin, he's been showing up the way we've seen him. He's gonna throw the jab, he's gonna move around, and he's gonna do whatever it takes to um to win the fight. That's the in the papers we look to see Devin winning this fight.
Is this a harder task than going to Australia to fight Cambosis two times?
I think so. I think this is the guy. I mean, again, if the Lomachenko who's eager to get in there and win the fight, if this guy shows up in there, it's gonna be a hell of a night. But from what we've seen with Kambosos really didn't really do anything to pose any threat to Devin.
Right, right. Um, when we talk about these names, Javante Davis, Ryan Garcia, uh, Devin Haney, Lomachenko, all guys at the 135 division. Um, when we talk about the face of boxing, um, who do you have, or do you believe that there's numerous faces in boxing at this point in time? What's your belief?
I mean, obviously Tank has put a lot of uh eyes out there, to see who he is and how much people gathered, to watch him. So we know that when it comes down to the fighters in the US, I would say Tank is very on top of that. Maybe because we've seen him even with Garcia, the other Garcia, or even before that, there was people were filled up. I don't know if they've given up the tickets because sometimes they do, but from what I'm seeing, I mean, even in the weigh-ins, people were coming up. So it shows the power or the how people see and perceive Tank, as the next guy with the biggest name or the biggest guy in boxing in terms of fan friendly fighter. And you get Ryan who people like to go out there and support. He has a lot of social media fans and all that stuff, so people go out there to support him. And then with Devin and all of them, I mean, it's not to the point of like Tank. They don't sell out crowds. You get the even the Spence and Spence and Crawford. You know, um, Even at that, I mean, just by themselves, they don't get the Tank. Um, People coming in.
Right. You're not getting the pay-per-view numbers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.